Module 9, Overview of Child Intervention Practice Framework. Module 9, Learning Objective, Purpose of the Child Intervention Practice Framework. Module 9, Review. From Module 4, we were introduced to the Child Intervention Practice Framework. From Module 4, we learned about the vision and mission that guide our work. In Module 4, we described the principles that support the casework practice model and underpin the work of child intervention practitioners with children and their relational connections. Module 9, Approaches. Now let's look at the Child Intervention Practice Framework, which also outlines specific approaches and techniques that support family-centered practice with child-centered outcomes. The 4 approaches. Align with the legislation and the CIPF, that is, the practice principles and domains of practice. Encourage child intervention practitioners to work collaboratively with families and communities to increase safety and preserve families. Offers tools that child intervention practitioners can select from to meet the unique needs of each family they work with. Foundations of Caregiver Support. Module 9, Foundation of Caregiver Support. The Foundations of Caregiver Support is training for all staff and caregivers caring for children in care. This training provides caregivers with a base from which to develop their capacity to improve positive outcomes for infants, children, and youth. Lifelong Connections. Module 9, Practice Strategies for Lifelong Connections. The Practice Strategies for Lifelong Connections supports the integration of the CIPF principles into practice and focus on creating, preserving, and supporting connections for children and youth. Signs of Safety. Module 9, Signs of Safety. Signs of Safety is a strengths-based, safety-focused approach to child protection work that is grounded in partnership and collaboration. It is an approach that focuses on the question, how can the worker build partnerships with parents, caregivers, and children in situations of suspected or substantiated child abuse and still deal rigorously with the maltreatment issues? It expands the investigation of risk to encompass the strengths that can be built upon to stabilize and strengthen a child's and their family's situation. Collaborative Service Delivery. Module 9, Collaborative Service Delivery. A practice approach. Collaborative service delivery focuses on providing flexible, creative, collaborative, and community-based services to meet client needs. Both agency and Children's Services Region staff collaborate with caregivers to set goals and identify friends, relatives, and community members who can support the family in achieving these goals. Module 9, Areas of Focus. The areas of focus create safety, well-being, and connection for children by demonstrating competence and an anti-oppressive approach in child intervention practice. Safety, permanency, well-being, family and community support. Module 9, Key Outcomes. Child intervention has established 5 key outcomes for service delivery. Child safety, permanency, child well-being, family and community support. Module 9, 5 key outcomes for service delivery. Child intervention aims to ensure children and youth feel safe and comfortable at home and other places in the community. Child intervention aims to ensure children in temporary care will be reunited quickly with their relational connections. Child intervention aims to ensure children in permanent care will be placed in permanent homes as quickly as possible. Module 9. Overview of the Child Intervention System. 5 key outcomes for service delivery. Child intervention aims to ensure that children and youth in care live in culturally relevant placements whenever possible. When a child must be brought into care, the first options for placement are with relational connections, members of the community, or anyone who has a meaningful connection with the child, so there is the strongest possible connection for that child to their cultural community. Child intervention aims to use innovative approaches to help Alberta's vulnerable young people become contributing members in their communities. When we support our youth, we support an Alberta where all families and communities can thrive. We facilitate healthy transitions to adulthood and, where possible, reunify homeless youth with their relational connections. Module 9. What do we know? To recap what we have learned, practice approaches provide child intervention practitioners with a variety of ways for interacting with children and youth and their relational connections across the intervention spectrum. Each practice approach offers various tools that child intervention practitioners can select from to meet the unique needs of each of the children they work with. The legislation, the CIPF, and practice approaches support children's services in achieving the 5 provincial outcomes for the children and youth you work with and build resiliency in the children we serve. Module 9. Well-being and Resiliency. A framework for supporting safe and healthy children and families. Click here to go to alberta.ca. Module 9. Resiliency. The hope of child intervention is to support children, youth, and families and create positive outcomes and resiliency in those we serve. Here is a brief video on resiliency and why it is important. Press S to pause the slideshow, then click on the video. When you return, press S again to continue. Congratulations! You've completed all of the modules. The following slide contains questions that you, alone or with your team, may want to reflect upon. Reflection questions. Using the questions on the next slides, consider having a discussion with a supervisor or senior staff member that will support you in your learning. 1. How will your practice approach shift, and/or what will you include when working and planning with children, youth, and families who have experienced trauma? 2. What would the families, colleagues, and community partners observe that tells them that you are helping support the 4 domains: child safety, permanency, child well-being, and family and community support of the Child Intervention Practice Framework?